What's happening, Wargamers? Welcome to another episode of The Dossier, the Marvel Crisis Protocol show where we discuss all things Marvel Crisis Protocol, namely the characters, what we think about them, their model, their character cards, what they bring to the game, and where they might find various homes. We are taking a look still at the Ministravaganza 2023 characters, and in today's video we have Cable, the leader of X-Force, to take a look at. This is a character that a lot of people always kind of felt was a little poorly optimized for what he would do. Very tricky to kind of use him well, and as a result, it always kind of made X-Force feel a little on the rough side of things. Now, of course, if you're looking for in-depth discussion, this is just an overview, our opinions. You can definitely find those discussions elsewhere, and I highly recommend you go out and seek them out if you want to get involved with it. But this is going to give you an idea of where to start and what a character might be doing for you. So taking a look at Cable in this particular one, first off, I'm going to say I love this model. I think Cable's model is probably one of the best ones out there. I don't know if it's my top 5, but I love that kinetic barrier. I love the explosions going into it. I love the little explosive cloud at the very bottom. His pose with the cape hanging out there. You can do an alternate pose with a rifle on his back, but I mean the cape just looks so good. Why wouldn't you do the cape? So I really dig it. And the other really fun thing is like there's all these like optional pouches and all that sort of stuff. Very very Rob Liefeld, because in his propensity for drawing pouches. It is a fantastic model. I had a lot of fun painting it. I just generally like it. I think it is a great model. And it's just a shame that it's been for so long that his card really hasn't been worth putting him on the table quite a bit. Very easy to assemble, no real issues with that particular one. He goes together really easily. You slot the cape on before you get the head on. The kinetic shield goes on really nicely, and that's really solid details. It even has some ripples on there for you to kind of get creative with how that goes. It takes contrast paints really nicely if that's kind of the route you're going with it. But yeah, I really dig Cable's model. As far as Cable himself, let's take a look at his character card here. So he's 3/3/4 with 7 stamina, 5 threat, 2 size, and a slow movement. And I believe he got a point of stamina. I think he used to have a little bit less here, and he might have gotten some mystic, but I can't be sure on that one. But either way, for a 5 threat, his defensive stats do feel a little on the lower end. It would have been nice if he had an extra point of energy maybe in there. I do like the 7 stamina. Having 14 across the board is really solid. That slow movement, though, however, is a little rough, but thankfully he has some kits to kind of work with that. But I do feel his stat line, even after the Ministravaganza changes, still leaves a little bit to be desired. So for his builder attack, we have a energy attack, range 5, 5 dice plasma rifle, gaining power equal to damage dealt. If you happen to be within range 3, you can reroll 2 of the attack dice in this attack, and it's got a wild incinerate. So he gained the rerolls within range 3. I am at odds with this one. I kind of feel like they're trying to push a certain playstyle with Cable that I don't think the rest of the card really agrees with, especially a range 5 attack, because that's also a big thing. I think like the difference between range 3 and range 5 is about 4 inches, I believe. I don't know. I never really want Cable that close. Like, it's not bad once it becomes a little bit later in the game and people are closing in on him, but I don't know. It doesn't really jive with me. We have the Askani Sun, which is an area 2, 7 dice for 5 power, and then for each attack that deals damage, you can remove 1 damage from this character. AMG has issues with area attacks. They always feel like they're overcosted for little impact. I know in this particular case, like this feels like it goes with like the be within range 3 type thing. But again, I'm not feeling it. Is being that close, I don't think he has the defensive stats to really kind of hold up in those fights, and that kind of bothers me a bit as a result. We have a redone leadership. We have the Wet Works. It used to simply be once per turn you can reroll 1 of your attack dice. Now it's each allied character may reroll 1 die in their attack rolls once per turn, including skull results. So they can use the leadership to reroll a skull. Very important to note, it doesn't allow them to reroll skulls in general. It has to be as part of the leadership reroll. If the enemy character happens to be within 3, they also get to ignore the benefits of cover. That is a nice little touch. I don't know how often it really becomes important, but I mean, you can't really dislike that. Being able to ignore covers, basically getting to ignore a guaranteed save. We got Body Slide by 1, an active ability for 2 power. Place this character 2 of its current position once per turn. On that medium-sized base, it is a deceptively good bit of movement there. Again, it really feels like you might want to use it to try and get within that 3. I always kind of prefer to get it either onto an objective or just get away from someone. So once again, I feel like some of this kit's designed to kind of play at range, and they're trying to force 2 different types of play styles, but that's my opinion. We got Omega Level Threat, which is an X cost active ability. Spend 1 to 4 power, use a superpower, throw a piece of terrain within range 3 with a size equal to the power spent, and throw it medium. This throws great. Just no question about it. Within range 3, that is 6 inches away from this character, which basically gives you a 12-inch bubble plus the base. Getting to throw medium it's a long throw, and if you can toss, a size 4 piece of terrain, that is 5 unanswered damage going into a character. I love it. My big issue with it is I just very rarely have power for it. And this is probably one of the reasons why. We have Telekinetic Shield, a reactive ability for 2 power. When this character or an allied character within 3 of this character is targeted by an attack, use a superpower, add 2 dice to the defense roll against this attack. So it does make him 5/5/6, or just helps out other characters, which does sort of help him once he gets within that range 3 range band. It adds up, though. It can become very expensive, and this is a very fast way of draining Cable's power reserves. It's a great ability, but it's rough at times. Then we have Techno-Organic Virus Suppression. It's an innate. He gains 1 additional power in the power phase. It helps power his kit, but he's got an expensive kit, as you can see, like 2, X, and a 5, like a very expensive kit. And then he's got immunity to poison. Now, one of the other big things that changed on this one, and I believe it was just on the injured side, the Afghani Sun used to have a stagger attached to it as well. That has been lost, which is really kind of unfortunate. I felt that was the best part of the Afghani Sun, and they got rid of it. I do think it brought down in power as a result, though, but it's just a little unfortunate. So that is Cable. Now, where does he like to exist in this game? Well, he can fit a gun line, although he's very expensive for a gun line. I think he really enjoys X-Men Blue, being able to get some extra power from the rest of your team doing attacks. I think Inhumans, where they can put some power over to him if you don't have any better targets, is kind of a nice option. I think, generally speaking, I like him in places where I can get him a lot of power. As far as him being a leader of the X-Force, I don't know. I'm a little torn on that one, because I feel like some of X-Force's best characters are already operating in that range 2 band, which is going to be ignoring cover for the most part anyway. But getting the chance to reroll a die, including a skull, I mean, it's never bad, and it's a reroll that you don't have to pay for, which is really nice. But it's just, it's really difficult. I'm very torn on Cable. I think he got some good changes, but I don't feel like they were the changes that he actually needed to see. But that is, of course, my opinion. If you want to hear more hot takes on it, I mean, we can definitely make some videos about stuff like that. But definitely get involved in the conversation and tell us what you think about Cable, and basically just sound off in the comments below. And we will see you next time. Happy wargaming.